Chapter 11. Deliciously Disheveled. Naturally, Kendra's birth control reference had Sophie flirting with sadness before she ushered her client into the foyer. But Kendra had no way of knowing Sophie's history. Deception aside, Sophie knew she'd never have left Darius if she'd had his child. And, if she could have had children, she and Darius would have had zero privacy. Kids equaled chaos. Pride equated to cold and lonely for Sophie. Saving the entire world from itself wouldn't fill the gaping hole she'd torn in her heart. She'd shredded Darius, too. Regrets swirled like the snow raging beyond her ceiling-high window. Sophie hadn't been the kindest. She'd been cruel and selfish where Darius was concerned. And through it all, he'd been the gentleman, the tender suitor, and the deeply wounded husband who'd gotten sidelined. How could she? Why would she do that? Love was a drug, and she wanted more. "Clear my calendar," she called to the temp at reception. "I'm going out." If she didn't act now, she never would. A thank you was in order, a truce if nothing else. Sophie beelined to the closet to grab her coat when she heard it. "Stop right there," the temp said with amazing firmness. "Miss Black is out. She's unavailable. She's right where I want her, according to Mrs. Sparks," boomed a savage baritone. Sophie gaped at the raging bull bursting into her office. "I tried to stop him," the temp said. "It wasn't your fault," Darius told the woman, "but rest assured your boss will welcome the intrusion." Sophie's deliciously disheveled husband thrust a manila envelope her way. "I've signed them." "What?" "Your papers, Sophie. Don't make this harder than it is." "What about your countersuit?" she squeaked. "There is no countersuit. No basis for one, as you already know." "Do I?" She fanned her face. "Yes. I filed to keep you on the hook." "And now?" "I'll sign whatever else you need when you need it," he growled. "Send a courier. I won't bother you anymore." "Never?" "Never is a long time, as you told me on the island. But I give you my word, I'll leave you alone. Be free." "Why now?" "I need you happy. Blissfully, delightfully, ecstatically happy." He raked his tumbled hair. "Whatever it takes. I don't want to be the virus or drug or anything else that prevents you from enjoying this life. The one I'd hoped to share despite my absurdity." "Is that why you let me leave you?" "Yes." "So I'd be blissfully, delightfully, ecstatically happy? Did I get that right?" "What are you asking, Sophie?" He lifted flat hands. "I want to be clear because... Why did you let me abandon our apartment?" "The truth?" He flared his nostrils. "Nana insisted you needed space to miss me, to miss us, without pressure from doctors, family, girlfriends, and even yourself." He glanced around the office he'd never seen, then withdrew the red Christmas ornament from a deep pocket. "She said you'd come back to me. Maybe she hoped that you would. But nobody can be right all the time. Your future is yours to decide." "My Nana said all that?" He set the ornament on her desk. "Yes, but I want you happy, Sophie. I always have." "I think I believe you." "Good." "Yeah, that feels good," she said with a surge of longing. "You're not broken, you know. Just foolish." "No, you're beautiful. You're perfect in every way." He fell short of grasping her hands. "My family knows that. They know how I feel." "Seriously," she asked, "you mean that?" He nodded once, then gave his chest a good whack with his balled fist. His lips plumped as if he'd committed a high crime. "Any doubts you may have had on that score were mine to dispel. I should have done more to shield you. To impress upon you..." Sophie lifted a hand. "What about the rest home? Was that Nana's idea?" "Nana and my mother concocted that one," he admitted. "Why, Dari? Why would Nana want to leave me? She was the best thing ever when we..." Why? A tear burned her cheek. There are some Greek men at Nana's home, well-heeled and still vigorous. I see. Mom thought she introduced them and the rest was Nana all the way. My grandmother wanted? Sophie gaped. Nana is a catch, Sophie. She's so full of life and... Darius shrugged. She's the most popular girl, but you'll always be my girl, whatever you choose. I have to be honest. Give us the room, Sophie instructed the temp, who sobbed loudly. Sophie had forgotten the girl was present. Please, she added, not wanting to sound clip. Darius frowned. I don't mind. I'm undone, and the entire world knows it. Lock the doors, Sophie said, then rounded on her husband before the click sounded. And not another word from you. But, hush, I said. Planning to kill me in private, said Darius. Maybe. Sophie dropped her coat and gloves. She twirled a hand and slid the long pin from her coiled hair. The mass fell in a silky cascade she knew would please her husband. I have a presentation I think you'll want in on. It's bound to do tremendous good. She snatched the manila envelope and kissed the sharp edge. Sophie, what are you doing? She unfolded the envelope flap and whisked out the contents. 1, 2, 3. She stopped counting and ripped. Torn papers hit the floor, the ceiling, and a deliciously confused Greek. Torn clothes followed, hers and his, after she'd yanked off his coat. You're eager to make an impact, yes? A big impact. On the world as I see it, he groaned. He eyed her, like she was his universe. His mouth curled up at the corners, and so did Sophie's. Well then, she whispered, wish your wife a proper Merry Christmas. Babies would come. Adoption is our option. She pouted just for him. But statistics show that traditional methods of expanding one's family have amazing residual effects. Health and wellness. Tension relief. She pushed him toward the couch. Shall we head to our island after this meeting to discuss your findings at length? Our island? No way. Darius captured her lips with his. Once, twice. Merry Christmas. Their kiss was long, deep, and too satisfying for words. Nia is thorough, he said. She has her own story she could tell? Something like that. What was the going price for our... Sophie asked. A song? Droom, droom, droom. Sophie purred into her husband's ear, then accepted his gift with pleasure. The end.